Hello. We are back.
Hi.
Let's figure it out. There. Hello. So for the next hour, we are going to have on a great guest who was actually the first podcast any of us have ever guested on. So we had such a great time with them. We wanted to bring them on here to review Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, a classic. So here is Arthur of Cent Critics. Hello.
Hi.
Hello, everyone. Very happy to be here. Thank you all for letting me be on here. And it's great also to be in the space because now it's like this is the first time where I'm talking on three of you in the same space.
All of us together. Yeah.
And Sonia and I were on one episode where we reviewed Free Guy, and then John was on an episode.
Yes, to review a book.
Yes.
The Deal by L. Kennedy.
Yep, it's a romance novel. Yes.
Yeah.
No idea. That's why Don is our resident, romance novelist.
Yeah. Just great to be on here, talk about a Christmas special that's. When I was watching it, I actually, because I thought that I had seen it before, but then I saw it and I was like, wait, I don't think I've seen this before. Or at least I've seen parts of it, but that was the whole thing.
Yeah.
Not the whole thing, definitely not. I had some very strong emotions.
Oh yeah,
what? Yeah.
Well, like strong emotions throughout, or was there like specific parts that you were like, ugh?
It was kind of throughout, honestly, because I guess we want to just dive right into like the special.
Go for it, yeah.
Go for it. You're our guest. We want to hear your thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Because there are so many characters who are just so mean to Rudolph, and also, I feel like Hermie as well, the elf who wants to be a dentist, and hates making toys. And of course, you also have the misfit toys, which that's a whole depressing section of the special. But Rudolph specifically, there's so many people who are so mean to him, and even I feel like Santa was also like kind of mean, but more subtle about it. But even
I don't think Santa was that subtle about it. To be fair, it's like he turns to Rudolph's dad. And is like, you should be ashamed of yourself. And I'm like, why is Rudolph's dad being ashamed for Rudolph having a red nose? I don't understand.
He can't join the squad if he can't fix that nose. And then the dad is feeling pressure to like fix up the nose. And then the dad is also kind of mean about it too.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like nice. Well, not really. She didn't tell Dad to shut up. Right?
Yeah, she like that's the thing is like the nice people still didn't defend him.
Yeah.
Like they didn't stick up for him.
Yeah, even like Clarice. I feel like Clarice was obviously nicer to him, to Rudolph about it, and being accepting his nose. But I still feel like I wish that Clarice or the mom could have really a bit more, be like. Just to tell other people off. Not let them be so malicious towards Rudolph. And
I wish Rudolph had told Santa to shove it at the very end. Like, how dare Santa make fun of him and shame a child and then be like, but actually you're useful. Like, that's all that movie's message is, even if you're flawed, just be useful. And people will like you. Like that's find a usefulness, Yeah.
The message is odd, definitely, if you think about it. Because it's like as you were saying, Jessica, it's like, you can be accepted. The message. I feel like the message is be accepted for your differences. And be accepted by your community and your peers for what makes you unique. I feel like that's what they're trying to go for, but what it really feels like is, as we were saying, your differences, you can be accepted for them as long as they have a purpose for other people, as long as they can take advantage of what makes you different.
That's a good word, to take advantage.
It's really dark.
Most Christmas movies are, I've found out. Most Christmas movies are very dark. I don't understand, but I don't know.
That still happens in real life though. Like if you have a
Yes.
different ability. So like just a while ago, I was out somewhere and like it came up that like I'm on the spectrum, and they're like, "Well, what's your thing?" Like what? Like I don't know. Like my
Don't
useful
you like
talent.
trains or something?
Yeah, like what are you really good at? Like just like being a lazy piece of shit. I'm sorry. I have nothing else to offer. But like yeah, like then like they stop talking to you. You're just like okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Like that would have been such a great redemption arc, I think. Is if like Santa just was screwed that year. Like
Yeah,
he
that's what
had
he
to
gets.
own up to his unpreparedness.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like-
to his discrimination, to the prejudices.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
It's just because of his it wasn't Rudolph's emergency to take care of if Santa was unprepared. Like it wasn't his responsibility to take care of that. He was just a child too. He's just
Yep.
a baby.
A little baby, and he runs away from home because no one's taking care of him.
It's like,
I did
no.
appreciate when his family was going out on the search for him. You know, to look
Yeah,
up,
they're like,
but,
oh
you know,
shit, baby. Like
Yeah, but was that about Rudolph, or did they just not want to look bad? Because like if your kid goes missing and you don't go look for them, it like
would
people
hope
judge
it's-
you for that.
I would hope that they want to look for him purely because they want to look for him.
yeah,
I would hope that.
hopefully.
What do we think of the island of misfit toys? How, you know,
That's
there's just a
heartbreaking.
whole, they were just all segregated to an island.
Again, that is another incredibly bleak part of the special. Maybe the bleakest part of all. Honestly, it's just like all of these
Mr.
toys, but like the train that has the square wheels, or the bird that swims instead of flying,
Mm-hmm.
or the Russian doll that has like the mismatching little mouse doll
Yeah.
inside of it.
My thing is, these are toys, which means someone made them that way.
like
Like, so someone
evil
was like,
scientists. Like,
yeah, they're like purposefully like, oh, like,
Yeah, I can't. I was like, wait, was it on purpose? Were they made like this on purpose, or was it like an accidental mistake?
like
You know,
TLC,
exactly.
do it yourself gone wrong. Like,
trading spaces, you know?
yeah,
IKEA furniture without the instructions, you know?
yeah.
I think it's pretty hard to accidentally put jam in a water gun.
That's my favorite toy. We talked about this, but I don't know if people have listened to the latest episode from Cheap Seats Reviews where he talks about Spirited. Yeah, I talk about how this is like the greatest toy ever, I guess.
in your mouth anytime you want jam.
So does that mean it's like a toy? Does it just shoot an infinite amount of jelly, or is there like a limited amount of jelly and you have to refill it? Because if you can shoot jelly, also I'm just wondering like why can't you shoot water from the gun as well? Is it made specifically for?
I think
jelly?
it's like magic. I didn't see it have like a compartment really. It was shooting a lot of jam without like a refill compartment, so it has to be magic. It's magic jam.
But yeah, it's just like
Well,
infinite,
also,
infinite jelly.
If it wasn't, it's like then you could just empty the jam and put water in it, and then it's not a misfit toy
exactly.
anymore. Yeah,
Exactly.
so it's like it was just forced to jam only
it.
compartment. You know,
That's it.
nothing else.
Just-
Nothing else.
So it's a shawty in the box, which is meant to be a Jack in the Box, but apparently the thought about it is that it's his name. Which is also really strange. It's not even like a physical part of the toy. It's just like a name, which is like, but you can change the name if you really wanted
Change
to.
the name so easily. Like,
And also,
I-
why can't it be a shawty? Why can't it have a name shawty and be a Jack in the Box?
I think the standards of the North Pole are just too high. Like they're just like, oh, you're not a deer with like a black nose, then you can't be here. Like everyone else, get out. Like that's. I don't even think the elf at the end becomes a like. Does he really become a dentist? Does he?
I think
mean,
he looks at
checks the
everyone's
one guy's teeth,
I
but
thought
that's
he-
all we. Yeah.
I was hoping he was heading down that road.
That's what I hope too.
Without
I hope
any
I hope he kept
education.
with it.
Yeah. But like what they do before, like were they just like making dentures? They're elves. They can make whatever they want. Like were you just like taking out all your teeth and like dentures by the time you're 20? Like
You don't need teeth to make toys, you know.
Maybe it's just magic. Because if they don't have dentists in this land, maybe it's just magic, you know?
They're probably eating so much sugar. That's like half their diet in the North Pole is just sugar.
it's not snow, it's powdered sugar.
What's with what's the name? The guy that runs the island of misfit toys, the like
Leo,
the flying lion thing.
Oh, I just watched this again last night.
I didn't catch the name actually, but I remember the lion.
But why is the guy from A Lion, a Witch, and a Wardrobe protecting an island of misfit toys and jam guns? You know, I didn't understand. Like, was he a toy? Was he a misfit? Did he just want to rule over something? You know, like I want his backstory.
Like a spirit or like a god, not a god of maybe a god.
I mean, the lion in A Lion, a Witch, and a Wardrobe represents like God or something. So that's probably same.
Or something. Yeah, I'm a good doer.
we look at lions and we're just like, wow.
So the lion's name is King Moonracer.
I wasn't even
not what I thought it was gonna be.
I was like, it's lion, Leo.
Yeah, something simple.
Yeah, I watch this every year since I was like in diapers. That like this is like a yearly movie. Don't even know his name.
Oh my gosh, maybe that's the problem because we've already established names can make you a misfit. So maybe his name made him a misfit, and that's why he's on the island.
Because no one's calling him Leo.
King Moonracer sounds like the name for some kind of spiritual entity from an anime series.
Yeah, yeah. I'd believe that.
They're like Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yu-Gi-Oh, or maybe like a Pokemon sort of thing. Maybe.
Yeah, Bakugan. What was Dragon Ball Z when it was still good? When he was like looking for the Dragon Balls, like that.
Yes,
yeah.
When like the story kind of made sense and like,
yeah,
you knew the characters and you knew their motives clearly until I don't know. It wasn't
a fight scene for like 8 episodes.
No, lots of talking. There was and walking.
Yeah,
I've never seen Dragon Ball Z, so this is all just like new stuff to do in photo.
Oh, it's back in the day from like. Oh my gosh, I was like I think we were in like
I used to watch a lot of Inuyasha. That was my anime as a child, I think.
I've heard of that too.
Sailor Moon?
I haven't seen it.
Oh yeah, Sailor Moon was a big one.
Heard of that as well, but never seen it. I've been watching some anime as of late, like Spy Family and Chainsaw Man.
Nice.
Those are like newer ones. Yeah. The old school, like Card Captors. That's like another good one. Back in the day, anime cartoons.
Yeah, it's I'm not in like I haven't watched a lot of new anime. It's been my son that's starting to watch the newer anime, so he tells me about it.
Ooh. Wait, has he seen Spy Family?
I don't know.
Spy Family is very good. I don't
know what he's watching.
I know he watches like Naruto and stuff. You know, that kind of that stuff.
Naruto, I have seen that, but I dropped off of it. It was just a lot of episodes, and eventually it's just like
that's what he said.
Much.
He's like halfway through, and he's like 70 episodes in. I don't know. It's like there's a lot. I think that's why I don't get into anime. There's always like so much before you get into it.
Before the story starts, there's like a backstory for every single character, and it's like season 5, and it's finally getting started.
And people get mad if you don't know it.
They're
like if you're a casual fan of anime,
yeah.
like they're like, no, you're either a fan or you're not.
Interesting. I feel like the backstories can get very complex. Again, especially for something like Naruto, where some of the characters have these very deep backstories, and you have, again, a lot of episodes. Sometimes you're watching these these plot lines unfold over the course of several episodes, and he could have just condensed them into maybe 2 or 3 episodes.
No, they just got to keep pumping them out, you know. Unlike these Christmas specials that are all so short. Like now, Christmas movies, like we watch Spirited, and it's over 2 hours long. It's like, I'm getting ready for Christmas. I don't have time. Give me a 20-minute Christmas special.
Shaving some time off of Spirited would have been nice. Maybe like 15 to 20 minutes. Like I generally enjoyed that movie, and I feel like that has gotten some positive reception, surprisingly. But again, shaving some of the minutes off would have been nice.
You already know my feelings on Ryan Reynolds, so I don't necessarily have to repeat them.
It was the first to find out.
Sonia and I actually found out that Ryan Reynolds is currently on the trajectory to become the next Nick Cage, I think.
Yeah.
He's going to say yes to everything. Never
role.
take a year off.
I wish Daniel Radcliffe was like that.
That is interesting.
I heard my name.
Fitting, very fitting.
This is great.
Hello, Daniel. Still need to see.
Made that for one bit, and now I have it for life. So I
will. Weird Al movie. Still need to see that.
So I remember watching like all these Christmas specials like in a row. Like I think there was like one night of like during Christmas holidays, my mom would just like play it. I don't think I ever like chose to watch it for a long time. It would just always be on,
just like in the background, all of them, all day, every day.
Yeah, the Christmas movies, I remember when I was a kid, I remember them playing on the TV a lot. Especially around the holidays, obviously, like, you know, Christmas specials. Oh, especially like Charlie Brown. That was a big one, obviously. Alf, that was also another staple for my household.
Yeah, like Alf, yeah. Alf has been around for a long time.
Jim Carrey's Grinch.
Oh, yeah, the Jim Carrey Grinch. And like the 15-minute cartoon one. Like that, like from way back when, yeah.
Right, my sound went out.
Okay. I should have named that first, maybe, but yes, that was also playing a lot on TV.
Yeah, and it just like end up more and more movies you have to watch. I'm like, man, I'm running out of time. You can't watch them before December. Like, if you want to watch all of them, watch them all year.
There are a lot of Christmas specials and movies, even like even a few that I've been consuming more, like, you know, as first watches for this year, like Klaus, for example, on Netflix. I saw that for the first time in preparation for an episode of Cent Critic, and I ended up really enjoying that. I can see why that ends up getting so much praise. Have any of you seen it, Klaus?
I haven't personally.
No, I haven't either.
Ooh.
Like,
I feel like a lot of like the new stuff.
Ooh.
I feel like a lot of the new stuff is good. It's just I can't motivate myself to watch it. You know, like I have to go through my list before I get to the new stuff, and then I just don't have time to like.
Right, you're like watching old favorites before you can get to the new stuff.
Before I add to it, and then if I don't have time, I don't have time. You know, especially if they're gonna be longer than 2 hours. Sorry.
2 hours is too long.
That's movies these days are definitely getting longer, and you know, it depends. I feel like sometimes if a movie can keep me engaged and make it feel like it's worth it for it to be just meaty, like the Batman, for example, with Robert Pattinson, that's like almost very close to 3 hours. It's 3 hours long, but I thought it was like that runtime was appropriate for the movie, where it is very plot dense, and there's a lot of content.
Yeah, I loved it. I think it was like very well done. Like it was like it was like slow, but a good way. You know, like it wasn't too slow. It was like
slow burn. Like I would say slow burn.
Yeah.
Building up the pacing and tension slowly, but not in a way that's boring. And it keeps you engaged, you know, but it's not like fast paced.
Yeah, it was great. I liked it. There was like so much hate at the beginning. Like we were like, "Oh, Robert Pattinson, he's gonna like ruin the movie."
He's a good actor. I don't care.
He's a great actor.
I really loved him actually as Bruce Wayne / Batman. But I will say at first I was very hesitant. I was not really up for his casting choice. I was just like, I don't know about this. But then he won me over.
Yeah, he played the dark Batman. Like the dark comics of Batman, like when before he was never a happy-go-lucky character, but like there was like a more like darker version of like a younger Batman.
Brooding, very anti-social, and I feel like Robert Pattinson did a great job of capturing that. Like, he's very like anti-social in the movie, just keeping away from everyone else. I feel like if you were to run into him out in the crowd, you would kind of like brush him off as being kind of like strange. Like, okay, I don't know what's up with him. Like, maybe I just stay away from him.
It weirds my people though. Like I don't get like.
I love how he always looks unshowered. That's like classic Robert Pattinson,
Yeah.
And
he never and he never gives the same answer in interviews. Like they're always different. Like if someone asks the same question, it's always like off the wall. Like I really enjoy his interviews because like he's like whatever. Like this is just the tedious part of the job. So he'll just say whatever and bullshit the whole time.
That would be fun though. I mean, just to be able to just make up stuff. Like he's his own character when he does interviews.
Yeah, he's playing Robert Pattinson.
Just putting on a performance, just letting loose, just like, hey, I'm here, and I'm showing off my stuff. Who cares? Who gives a crap?
Yeah, pretty much.
If you like me, you like me. If you don't, you don't. Whatever.
Well, and like you don't have to like the actor to like the movie, and vice versa.
No, yeah.
So it's like it's not even connected. I don't even know why they have to do that stuff. I don't care personally.
I think it's to promote their movies. Like that's why they do it.
I mean, the PR campaigns, although sometimes the campaigns don't work out too well for some movies, e.g., Don't Worry Darling. It's a movie that I would say I think it's better. I don't think it's that bad, honestly. Don't Worry Darling, but it's not good. It's more like in the middle.
Okay, because I haven't watched it, but I've been like curious almost if it's like as awful as I think it might be.
Yeah, it's not. It's just like, again, it's just mediocre. It's just kind of like generic when you really get down to it, and it has like a very rushed final act that kind of bothered me, but.
It's sad when talented people make mediocre. That saddens me.
Usually it's like bad writing or like bad something. Directing, writing. It's usually a team effort.
It's never just one person. There's so much that goes into these movies, but it's never.
The script definitely could have been polished up, but Florence Pugh is fantastic in it. I would say Florence Pugh is fantastic.
She's amazing.
And Chris Pine as well. Chris Pine is great in the movie as well. Even though Chris Pine, there isn't as much screen time of him as I would have liked, but I loved him for what he got in the movie. And even Harry Styles, honestly, like I don't think Harry Styles is as cringy as I'd expected, but like also he's not. Harry Styles isn't great. I feel like again, he needs some more polishing up, but I don't think he's awful.
It's not awful, but it's not that great.
Yeah.
I think he only got like hired because he was like Olivia's partner, isn't it? Like
something like that at the time. Yeah. I got ousted and he got in. I think the issue is like people expect him to be so good just because he's such like a big name too. And it's just like he got the part just because of who he knew and what his name was. Like that's very rarely makes for good.
For good movies. The actress,
at least it wasn't Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah, at least it wasn't Ryan Reynolds.
I still like Ryan Reynolds, but I can understand why he bugs people.
Everybody else does. It's just Jessica. Everybody still adores him. It's just Jessica who's like, come on now, take a day off.
Just year. I asked for a year.
You asked for a whole year.
I do think Rudolph has crap music. I don't think any of the songs are really fire.
Not
even Rudolph itself.
That's quite a hot take.
Not even the version they use. Like it's like, Dasher and Dancer and
Is that the fun
Prancer
school
and
play one?
Vixen. Yeah, it's like, like I don't want. That's no fun. I want to sing to a choir.
Interesting. That's quite a fiery
He can
take
only
with
play himself too. Oh yeah, it was Tep Note.
Chris is agreeing with my Ryan Reynolds stance.
Yeah, I don't
As
know.
a good husband should.
He's oversaturated, in my opinion.
Yeah,
He can only play himself. He's always Ryan Reynolds in whatever movie.
It's Ryan Reynolds and all the other actors.
Okay, well, if the music's not bad, what song is great in that like thing? Like I think the closest is like the sad elf song about wanting to be a dentist. I think that one's my favorite.
I like that one. But I feel like, the good old classics, like, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer had a very shiny nose.
I think that song can be great. I don't think it's great in this movie.
In this movie, it wasn't good.
I feel like it's very catchy. I feel like it's appropriate for, like, the Christmas atmosphere.
I like... Go. Okay, I was gonna say like my favorite like stop animation music is Santa Claus is Coming to Town.
Yeah,
like that one has like the best. Like it was always like put one foot in front of the other, and like I sing that all the time, all year. It's not just a Christmas song.
Yeah, there's a lot of like Christmas movies that have fire songs. I mean, even Frosty is better. In my opinion. I just think this Rudolph, it's all like kind of slowy,
sad.
Yeah, like I don't think there's a happy song in this entire thing. Like even Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer is about Rudolph being made fun of and then just being used by Santa Claus.
Slow and sad. I mean, yeah, that was fit the mood of the short of the Christmas special.
It's from like 1964, Like,
everything was sad.
Yeah, what they have to be happy for. Like it's just we saw like the parade earlier. It was depressing.
The clowns were scary. Yeah. Scary's not depressed.
No, but clowns, understandably, clowns can be very scary.
Yeah. Maybe that's the problem with the world today. All those generations are just traumatized from all the clowns. There's clowns for every holiday.
Now there's
a lot
not.
Of clowns. Now there's not because we broke that trauma. We broke that
generational trauma. Yeah, it's gone.
We're making it better, guys. Clown free.
Although there's still Ronald McDonald's. He's still pretty famous.
He works for Big Clown. We will get him.
He's making the McRib, okay?
Oh, the McRib. I've never had a McRib, but I've always heard bad things about it.
It's always like so fire until 10 minutes after you eat it.
And then your tummy hurts.
Yeah. You're like, oh no.
That's like everything from McDonald's after 10 minutes. It's not good.
After age 30.
You can apply that to some different foodstuffs. That's what's McRibs.
Have you ever had their pizza? McDonald's pizza?
The McPizza?
No, back in the day when I was a kid, it was the thing.
It's still in Florida. If you go to like their big McDonald's in Florida, they have the pizza. So
I think the one thing I miss, I don't know about you, Arthur, but we don't have cable TV in my house because we just have all these streaming services.
I don't have cable TV either, yeah.
Right? And most people don't nowadays. Like older people do, but like younger people don't in general. And I feel like I miss like having to like flip through cable TV to find the Christmas specials. Like I missed doing that because like now there's just so much to choose that I just watch Gilmore Girls or something. I don't even watch a Christmas special. I have to like be forced to watch it. And then you have all the Christmas commercials in between, and you just have it running all day like that kind of made it.
Guide, like the December themed TV guide was always like amazing. There's no more TV guide.
I want TV to like force itself on us a little bit more.
Yes, nowadays there is like an overflow of content you can choose from all of these different streaming services, and it's funny because back in the day or decades ago, it would be the sort of thing where there'd be something on the TV, like say Charlie Brown, like you get to watch Charlie Brown Christmas specials, but it's going to show at a specific time. You have to make sure that you can sit down for that specific time, and even like before the invention of the VCRs, you would have to be there at that time, and if you missed it, you would have to wait a whole another year to watch it because they didn't have you couldn't watch it on a videotape, or you couldn't buy a videotape or a DVD. It would just get shown exclusively on the TV, and then you'd have to wait for it. And then obviously once VCRs came around, then you could record it, and then you could keep it for yourself. But even then, it's still kind of difficult. And then obviously DVDs came, and now we have streaming services, and Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max, Prime Video, Disney Plus.
I know that's the thing.
We're not
so much.
We're not as stressed about watching it anymore. Like before, it was like a ritual to have with your family, right? Now it's I can just do whatever I want. Like when I was younger, I had this uncle, and he would videotape everything. He would record it and go on TV, and he would record it. And he always all these Christmas specials for us kids. He would make sure he was on it. He would watch all these Christmas things, and he would record it. And then we would always have Christmas specials on. But then also had the commercials. He never stopped it. It would just be we sat down and watched TV. It was now
VHSs like that end up in people these found footage festivals collection, where they'll then watch it and then pull out those commercials or pull out those specials or home videos or whatever.
I'm sure my aunt still has tons of them. I think they they're just in a room somewhere. My uncle passed a year and a bit ago, and so his whole collection I think is still just at his house. I'll be have to call my aunt.
Yeah, you should get it digitized and stuff, and we can watch it. We can go through it, watch those Christmas specials
from the 90s. Yeah.
Oh, I was born in the 90s.
I know. Some of us are born in the 80s. I think
it's funny that
Arthur, you're in the 2000s, right? Are you in the 90s or are you
late 90s? 98 for me.
98. Yeah.
So. Yeah,
it was a 90s.
I think it's funny that specials like these from the 60s stick around.
Yeah, they're still household favorites, even though we all have complaining about them. We
still gotta watch it every year. It's we
still watch them. I feel they somehow have aged in a way where even if we cringe at certain parts, for example Rudolph and just how spiteful and characters can be to him, we can still watch the specials. They hold up fairly well in that aspect. To have a watchability to them.
It's all that nostalgia and that kind of stuff. And we all grew up knowing the story of Rudolph. Yeah. It's not till you're a little older that you start really conceptualizing what it all means.
Oh, poor Rudolph.
Yeah.
And now it's a learning.
Although I would say as a kid, I acknowledge even as a kid how dark it was. Because even I remember my mom telling me hey, the other characters and the special aren't mean to Rudolph. He really should get some revenge on them. Or even there's this children's book series, My Weird School by Dan Gutman that I read. And I remember there was a Christmas book in the series where the main character, AJ, talks about Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And he was like, if I were Rudolph, I would have punched those other reindeer in the nose.
Right? Yeah. Why are you so mean? Yeah.
Same. Well, my favorite is the song Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. It has the part where it says all of the other reindeer. All the other reindeer used to laugh and call him names. And so they ended up making a whole movie musical called Olive the Reindeer with Drew Barrymore voicing Olive. That's what
I remember this. I think I might have seen it. I think I've seen maybe 70% of this.
Olive's a dog, And he doesn't feel like a dog, you know? And then the flea's hearing the radio and he's like, Santa can't fly.
Yeah, there's a book. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the book.
Yeah. Well, it has a movie and Drew Barrymore voices all of the dog.
I don't remember being aware of that fact of Drew Barrymore being involved.
Yeah. And the songs, I will say, are more fire than the original Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. I will give it that. There's like one scene where they're all in a bar and there's like big reindeer all like stomping and singing. It's a lot more interesting than a elf crying about not being able to be a dentist.
Oh, old Hermie. I still felt bad for him though, because like again, he was facing some matters as well as bullying.
And his story kind of ended the same way. It ended with him becoming useful. And so now they're like, oh, I guess we can forgive it. We did need a dentist. And you're working for free, I'm assuming.
Yeah, it's again, that's very questionable messaging.
Santa was very thin. I will give him that.
He's not eating enough candy.
Yeah. Mrs. Claus even says so, you know. Who ever heard of a thin Santa?
Very intriguing.
He has an eating disorder, and like Mrs. Claus is making him feel bad about it.
Ooh, getting some more dark
skinny skeleton.
Getting some more dark readings on the special on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Behind the scenes, you know. I think this also shows how much women are involved in the success of men.
You'll be a terrible Santa if you don't eat.
If you don't eat, yeah. And his entire persona was from Mrs. Claus' doing.
She plays a huge role in all the operations.
Well, he works one day a year. She's probably doing the rest of the other 364. Yeah.
It depends if it's a leap year.
Maybe. And then there's also Sam the Snowman, which I will say I actually found him to be a very charming character. Sam, played by Burl Ives, and I liked his role as the narrator.
Yeah, I thought his voice like fit that snowman like perfectly.
Yeah, that's the snowman's voice.
Yeah,
he was born with that voice.
Right, it can't be anyone else ever. Like they made the snowman so perfect.
I pop that up for folks.
Wow.
So we found Santa's kink or Mrs. Claus's kink, so now we just need Santa's kink, and then we've all kinked out.
Somebody asked that, and I said it was a stilophile. So it's where you like everything food related is your kink.
Why does everything have a name? Like, why is everything so specific? Like, I don't understand.
It's humanity's desire to specify everything.
Everything down to like a minuscule. Like, this is the thing. They're like, you're not a reindeer because your nose is a different color. His nose. Like, they all had different color fur. Fur was not a problem here. Just nose.
What? See, in that case,
it's a social construct on what a reindeer is. Okay.
Yeah. It's like it can be interpreted as an analogy for discrimination in the real world.
Yeah, how it's all made up.
Yeah, it's all made up. Yeah.
People just decide as a group. Yeah.
Racism, anti-Semitism, all of those ridiculous forms of bigotry.
Yeah. So Rudolph is really deep, actually.
Like way ahead of its time.
Yeah. We've like cut deep into all the stories it's trying to tell.
Dissect the layers.
The layers of Rudolph.
Well, I feel like people that watched it back in the 60s were just like, Christmas.
Yeah. Right? They're just like
not a thought in their heads,
interpreting it in a much more casual fashion, just being like, hey, this is fun, this is cheery. You got some snow, you got some reindeer, you got some forgiveness and generosity going on, and just happy messaging.
Yep.
There's never like really an apology though. Like, sure, there's forgiveness. Rudolph forgives without an apology.
Yeah, Rudolph is being the bigger person here. Like, and same with the elf and everything. Like, they're all in the island of misfit toys. All of them. They're like, oh, thank you, Santa, for realizing our worth.
Yeah, I feel like I feel like at the end of the special, it was the apology was meant to be implied, perhaps, was the mere fact that everyone is accepting Rudolph and Hermie and the Misfit Toys is meant to be an apology in and of itself.
Yeah. I feel like the generation that watched it when it first came out viewed it through the eyes of like accepting the strange people. And nowadays we're watching it through the strange people's eyes.
Yeah, we're like, that's terrible.
That's terrible. We have to force them to accept us. Versus back then, they're like, yeah, we're accepting, and I feel like that's the generational divide.
We're doing such a good job of, being the higher people. We're the ones who are being all good and benevolent.
Oh, and it was never that good. It was always like, oh, I told them I was joking, so now their feelings can't be hurt. Mm-hmm. Like it was never like, oh, like I shouldn't treat this person this way. It's like, oh, we were just joking, man. Like, come on now.
Stop being so sensitive.
Yeah, just dismissing their concerns.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we really dig deep into Rudolph, and we went on a few tangents. We reviewed other movies. We did those 40 minutes.
Yes, we're off on some tangents as is appropriate.
As is appropriate for opinionated lushes, of course. Arthur, I'm going to give you these next couple of minutes to plug all your stuff.
All right. Well, again, thank you very much for letting me come on here to discuss Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer with you. It was very fun. And you can also find me on the podcast Cent Critic, where I cover books, movies, and TV shows with a variety of guests. And of course, as we said before, I've had Jessica, Sonia, and Dawn on the show. You can find a whole bunch of other guests on here as well. And if you want the socials, you can find this podcast, Cent Critic, on Twitter and Instagram at @2_Cent Critic. You can follow my personal accounts on Twitter, GoodPod, Storygraph, and Letterboxd at Arthur_Ant18. You can follow me on Goodreads at Arthur Howell. If you want to email me, you can do that at email 2centscritic@yahoo.com. You can also check out my blog at 2centscritic.com, and make sure you subscribe, rate, and review 2 Cent Critic, wherever you listen to podcasts, whether it's Apple or Spotify, Stitcher, Anchor, Good Pods, all of those.
Yeah, I was going to say, I listen to you on Good Pods.
All of them.
all of them. We also have a link to, I believe, is Linktree in the descriptions on YouTube and Facebook. So
we do YouTube and Facebook. Yeah, it's there.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We appreciate you coming on and really deep diving into the societal meaning and history of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
You're welcome. This was a blast.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Perfect. That was great. I love that.
Yeah, it was good.
I've never done a live movie review before, so